If you drop Singapore into New York City, it wouldn't even cover all 5 boroughs. It is a tiny speck of an island. This chart of GDP per capita tells the story. Despite its physical size, its wealth has surpassed legacy developed nations like the UK, France, and the US. To understand the origin of this growth, we look back to 1965. Upon independence, Singapore had zero oil, no minerals, and barely any agriculture. With high unemployment and no natural resources to export, the country's first prime minister, Lee Kuan Yew, faced an immediate economic crisis. Since the island lacked resources to extract, the government's only option was to turn its strategic location into a primary economic engine through intentional, centralized planning. This map highlights Singapore's primary geographic asset, its position on the Strait of Malacca. It is a vital shipping choke point connecting the Indian Ocean to the South China Sea. To create immediate jobs, the state used that port to build a manufacturing base focused on labor-intensive industries, specifically electronics assembly. While citizens worked assembly lines, the state built the hardware for future growth: an efficient public transit system, a rigid legal framework, and a strictly clean government. By the 1980s, they leveraged that stability to pivot into finance. They established a competitive 17% corporate tax rate, far below the average from most developed nations. That tax structure worked. It successfully pulled in the regional headquarters of roughly 4,200 multinational companies. Lee's successor, Goh Chok Tong, pushed this momentum further, focusing the economy on attracting knowledge-based businesses and tech entrepreneurs. Manufacturing solved the initial unemployment crisis, but engineering a low-tax financial haven generated the country's actual wealth. In the early 2000s, under Lee Hsien Loong, the master plan evolved to focus on attracting ultra-high net worth individuals and their private wealth. To create physical space for luxury development, the government executed massive land reclamation projects, pouring sand and foundation into the sea to widen the coastline. They filled that new space with entertainment hubs designed for global appeal, including integrated resort casinos and a high-profile Formula One night race. The government positioned the island as the prime destination for ultra-wealthy citizens emerging from the booming economies of China and India. This line graph shows the payoff. Assets under management in Singapore grew from $420 billion at the start of Lee's tenure to $3.6 trillion by 2022. The state successfully turned a commercial port into a luxury vault where the global elite parked their capital. This growth was only possible through strict, uninterrupted single-party rule since independence, allowing for decades of uninterrupted long-term planning. That stability has a civic cost. The government maintains tight restrictions on press freedoms, protests are largely illegal, and critics point to a climate of fear among those who might criticize the state. There is also economic friction. Pumping trillions of dollars into a tiny island has driven up the cost of living and led to a severe increase in housing prices. Relying on a constant flow of foreign labor has also created anxiety among locals, who worry that high-paying roles are being taken by foreign workers. Underneath these social tensions is a demographic threat, a rapidly aging population that will simultaneously shrink the workforce and increase government spending. This specific, complex web of social and demographic pressures is what the new Prime Minister, Lawrence Wong, must now manage. Singapore's history shows that a nation can leverage geography and policy to build a global financial power. Its future depends on whether that same engineering can be applied to the more complex problem of human discontent.